Hey there, fellow entrepreneurs. I'm Sue, and you've just stepped into Entrepreneurs Gone Wild. Every week, I'll introduce you to a friend of mine, a remarkable entrepreneur who's not just changing the world, but also harnessing a secret weapon, time outdoors. Together, we'll dive into their journey, unpack invaluable business advice, and discover why embracing the wild is not just good for the soul, but also a goldmine for inspiration and innovation. Ready to uncover the secret that's boosting bottom lines and fueling joy? Hit subscribe and join us in the wild. Well, guys, welcome back to Entrepreneurs Gone Wild. Today is going to be fantastic. I have been waiting for this and looking forward to this and wanting to introduce you to Teresa for as soon as I found her, I wanted to introduce her to you. So today's the day. So, Theresa Taylor, I am so glad you're here, all the way from Alaska. My dunce, my goof, I did not even realize Alaska has its own darn time zone. Yeah. So, I lumped you in with California. Sorry about that.
Well, Alaska does have its own timeline or its own time zone. And it's so crazy because I don't know if you know how big Alaska is. Like if you take Alaska and put it on the map of over the United States, it's not quite half, but it's pretty big. And so it's crazy even to think that Alaska only has one time zone.
True. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's the one way, way east, like Newfoundland has its own. And it's like on the half hour or something crazy like that.
So wild. Well, I think actually like in the Aleutian chain, the Aleutian Islands, it probably changes the time zone there, but it's so far out, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway. Well, thanks for having me. Thanks for introducing me that way.
So absolutely. Sweet. Just this, I'm so stoked. I've gotten so much value from, I listened to your webinar. That was really cool. Just following along, meeting some of the people in your community. And I want you to talk about that as well. And then, we did the podcast club, which was so cool. I really enjoyed that. So I'm going to dive in and just start asking questions.
That's awesome.
Why don't we just roll way back to whenever it was that the entrepreneurial bug hit you? I would love to hear about how that happened.
Yeah, well, so I'm just kind of looking to, I didn't get a chance to see if anybody had any questions. Oh, it doesn't look like it. Entrepreneurial. I think I probably have always had that entrepreneurial seed in me, like there's been times in my life where I've tried little things, but I was actually a teacher by trade. I taught elementary school for 10 years. And before that, I volunteered in the elementary school. And so I've actually been out of the classroom for 10 years now. So had my children, and really kind of what led me to where I am now is, just being a mom, struggling with her new identity as a mom. And I had left my career to be with my children. And so I struggled with that part of me being missing too. And I think a lot of people can relate, when we go through these transitions in life, we have these sort of like identity shifts. It's like, who am I now? This was such a big part of my life. And so I really struggled with that. And I was introduced to network marketing, and I got into that. And what I found was that I was just naturally starting to coach people. So I'm huge on productivity and systems, and they've always made my life easy. And I started kind of mentoring women that were not on my team. It started with my team, but then it kind of grew. I became known as like the mama in network marketing in my my particular company. And then over time, it just kind of shifted, and I was really feeling like God was just pulling me into mentorship. And then I started learning about the whole world of coaching. I never heard of coaching outside of like sports, Yeah. And so, it's really evolved. So when I got into coaching, I had started doing productivity systems for moms in network marketing. And then over time that shifted. And so, I've been online now for 5 years, doing social selling and online sales. And I'm no longer with network marketing. My full income comes from my coaching. And so now I call myself a business coach and strategist because we do use a lot of productivity systems and the way the brain works in order to help us not only find the groove and flow for ourselves, but how to also speak to our audience in a way that they relate to. My goal, I guess you could say, is to help as many women as possible build a lucrative business without sacrificing time with their families or the things that they love to do, like hiking and whatever that is, right? But also still be able to make money. And so we do that basically by simplifying everything, which is why like yesterday, I don't know if anybody else saw the post, but when you had said something like that is so Alaskan, I'm just like, that's really awesome because it is really, I don't know, the culture here really is about kind of cutting the fluff and just getting to what's most important. And when we know, when we're clear on what we're doing and what's most important, things just run smoother. And so we can spend less time doing things because we are more focused. So
I love that. I love that. And I was sorry, it just started raining, so I'm scooting. There we go. Get the computer out at least. Yeah, when I saw that, I was like, that is definitely the most, like, it's practical. It's not fluffy. It's real. It works. I mean, that's, it doesn't get more pioneering, more Alaskan, more, like.
I love that.
And I love
it's
too
so
in
funny,
your webinar.
I feel like I have to turn my screen for a minute so people can see outside a little bit.
Ooh. Oh,
There's,
how pretty.
It's all well, you can't see past that curtain over there, but anyway, it's all lush and green, but it's like yours, but it's mostly just because we've had so much rain.
Oh, all right. We've been very dry, but it just started like a couple days ago. We finally had some rain. Our mud was cracking. It was like,
oh wow, yeah, it's so important. It really is.
It really refreshes everything. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Now, when do you get snow? Is that October?
I would say usually October. Weather is very unpredictable. I would say probably everywhere. But my biggest experience is in Alaska, and it's very unpredictable. We've gotten snow in September. There's been a few winters where we haven't got snow until the beginning of December. So,
wow.
Yeah. But I would say for the most part, probably October, mid-October. We don't have much of a fall. It goes very quickly. But
it goes right summer into winter, right?
Yep.
Cut the fluff.
Too funny.
Oh my goodness. All right. So now, like, how, and I've had the pleasure of being, on your webinar. I loved that you were like, hey, we're not, pie in the sky going, hey, you're going to make $1 million a month, or, we're looking at a very manageable amount, 5K, and helping people to get that. Talk about that a little bit. How did you settle on that as far as like, that's, how did that start?
Great question. Love this so much. Okay. So, my signature program, the past couple of years it was called the Magnetic Sisterhood. And it was all about building a business around a community. And, it was beautiful. But what I found last year was I started doing more market research. I felt my client kind of shifting some. So I was doing some market research. And what I found from all of these women that I was talking to was like their major goal was really just to either match their husband's income or to match their corporate income that they had before. Or if they were currently working, wanting that. None of them. Well, one person, but she wasn't in the market research. She's actually my client now. But everybody else, none of them said that they wanted to make 100K or even 10K months. It was all matching the income. And when I broke it down, most of the people that I was talking to was right about $5,000 a month, so 60K a year. And so as I went through that research project and getting all that done, it was like, you know what, these women just want what's manageable. And the other thing I found too was that in coaching or in like if you're a just say online entrepreneurs. If you're using social media, what happens is you have all these ads start popping up, right? And so you get in business for a reason for yourself. And many of us have the aspiration of just matching, living comfortably, right? But then we see all these ads that are saying things like make 10K months or, have your first 100K year or bigger. There's a lot in my feed. There's a lot that's bigger than that.
Yeah.
But what was hard about it for these women was that they would see these things and they would feel defeated in their own business because they were struggling to make even $2,000 a month.
Sure.
Right. And I think that that's very, very common when we are online and we see all these people and they're marketing for themselves. It sounds like they're really successful or like they must be having some success that they're still doing this for a few years, right? Yeah. Otherwise they would quit. But statistics show that, gosh, I don't even know the statistics right now in front of me. I should have written them down, but it's like 80 or 90% of people in the online world make $2,000 or less a month. And yeah, and the online education field, which includes online coaching and services that like consulting, those type of businesses are supposed to grow to another 3.5 billion over the next year. And so when we look at the statistics and we understand like how many people are actually making such a small amount, that big number comes from 1% of the online education industry. And so there's like, it's really like an epidemic that, you have all these people that are really just wanting to work and they're just wanting to learn how to grow their business online effectively, not to get rich, but to live comfortably, to give how they want to give, to live how they want to live. And so when I went through that process of learning all this, I was like, you know what, there is just something that's missing out here. And so I took a sabbatical in the fall. I took a 3-month sabbatical and it was incredible. And during that time, me and the Lord put together this incredible program called the Pathway to 5K. And really it is about gaining ultra clarity. Like I said before, like when you know exactly what to do, everything is easier, right? And so we do a lot of that at the beginning of the program, and then we move into sales and marketing. And it's cutting the fluff, Susan. It is cutting the fluff. It is only working on the things that are most important that you actually need. Because that's the other part of it, is that we see so many people doing all of these things, having a podcast, having a this, having a that, and you feel like you need all of those things, right? So suddenly you're spending your day in creation mode, essentially doing all of this stuff, and you're not making money. You're not having conversations with the right people. And so the goal of the Pathway to 5K is to get people to the point where they are making consistent. And I don't mean like having a big launch of 14K, which is totally doable and awesome, but people want consistency. So how do you build a business that brings in consistent income? And so that's the purpose of the Pathway to 5K, is bringing people to the point where they have consistent 5K months. And then once you have that, through this program, you learn how to take those systems and then be able to, if you choose to scale, which most people will scale once they feel comfortable in their business, in these things, they have those processes in place. Then it's just a matter of taking your systems and passing them on to somebody else or hiring a VA so that you can scale. And so it's called the Pathway to 5K, but it's only because 5K is the foundational piece. Consistent 5K months is life-changing for so many people. So
definitely.
You just grow. So that's where that came from. And
I love that.
Yeah, it has been beautiful. And it's been, I think also for me, like, it's really helped me break free from some kind of strongholds that I had in my head about like, well, I'm a coach and I need to be showing like my income claims, or I need to be showing, all the trips that I'm going on or whatever. But to be honest, like I like to travel, but I also really love to spend my time in Alaska traveling here. Like I said, it's a huge state. There's still so many places I've never seen here. We love camping. We love fishing. We love hiking is like my favorite activity right now. Cross country skiing in the winter. And so like I I want memories that are not always like going out and, buying fancy purses. But so changing my messaging to understand like, okay, these women are not looking for a coach that has all these things. They're looking for a coach that has the life that they want. And I feel really great about my season in life. Like life feels really, really good. And it's because I've simplified and I've aligned. And so that's the goal of helping other people to do the same.
I think that's so beautiful, especially, I mean, when you have kids at home and all that, it's like, it's very easy to get super carried away. And I've been guilty of it in the past, and it's like, especially if you feel like this pressure, like, oh, I need to be creating 10K, 20K a month. It's very hard to really be there for your family. And when you're learning all these things and you're distracted by, well, I guess I should do this. And this one said that, and I should probably do that. And I saw an ad for this. It's like, wow, it's very easy to get stuck.
Yeah. It's easy to get stuck, and it's easy to get swept away by like the shiny objects. And this shiny object that we're kind of talking about right now is just other people's dreams becoming your own out of proximity. So like when you see those ads, suddenly, that's good. I should write that down.
Write that down.
Like other people's, you see people talking about this so much, about making these big income plans, and you have no clue if they really do. And I'm like, based on the statistics, the majority of the people that are saying that they're making all this money are not. They're not.
Yeah.
But anyway, but the more that you see it, the more it becomes something that you want, just because you've seen it so much. And we lose focus of our original dream and goal. And going back to my infancy in business with network marketing, that was actually something that I saw there too. Kind of on a greater scale, because you're working with a team, and so everybody's like feeding off each other, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a really beautiful thing to work with a team. But also what happens is you have like these challenges and these like pushes to make sales, and everybody's cheering each other on, and then suddenly you see so-and-so making this much, and then it's like you forget why it's good to dream. It's good to dream, but also our dreams need to be in check with what we really want. And it's just like, is it what I really wanted, or did my dreams somehow shift because I was hanging around people that wanted something different?
Ooh, that's such a good point, because that really is contagious. I think that level of aspiration.
Yes,
and in some settings too, it's almost like it's potentially, you could end up getting scolded for dreaming too small.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. It changes the whole dynamic. I love too, like I think it's so important to have a sense of like you're loving what you're doing and not just pushed, to do it. Like if you're pulled to do it versus being pushed to do it, it makes a really big difference, I think.
Man. Yeah.
So what was that transition like for you? You took the sabbatical, which is amazing. we're going to come back to that, because that's like really, really cool. But coming back into this, now you have this plan in hand, and it's like you're basically relaunching, like totally building something brand new. What was that experience like for you?
Yeah. Well, I think, okay, so the sabbatical and the launch kind of go hand in hand. So I'll start a little bit at the sabbatical. And I took that sabbatical for several reasons. One of the biggest reasons was that I was having health issues. And so I've learned that I have an autoimmune condition. So it's under check now. Yes. But that I wanted some time to focus on that. I felt a little out of alignment. I homeschool. So I felt like things were slipping there. And then I was starting to feel, because I was learning all this stuff from these women, this market research, I was feeling out of alignment with my my old program. And so it was like, and the crazy part, Sue, is that I had so much momentum that at the beginning of October, I had a launch planned. And that launch, I know, like it would have been the biggest launch I've ever had.
Oh, wow.
And so choosing to go on sabbatical was definitely out of obedience. I really felt like the Lord was calling me to a place of rest. And if I didn't, it was like if I didn't do it then, when would I ever?
Oh, yeah.
Because if I brought in a bunch of people, suddenly I'd have to serve, and who knows what would come next. And
Right.
so more to that story, but through the sabbatical, it was scary. It was scary because there was a part of me that felt like, what if I don't have a business when I come back?
Right. You step away. What if it all blows up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 months of not serving my audience. And so it was a little scary, but I was so refreshed coming back. I came back the very end of December. The 26th. I chose to come back the day after Christmas.
Oh, wow.
So yeah. So I just started right away with an event. I did my first event, I think on the 3rd or the 4th or something. And it was on Facebook content and, creating content for your audience. And that went really well. And it led directly into my launch. And so it felt really good. I didn't have any issues. And that was a very successful launch too. And I feel like because I had that rest period before, that I was so clear in coming in, I didn't have all the noise and all the distraction that I had before. And I'll tell you what too, since then, I mean, I always rest 1 day a week. I never work on the weekends anymore, but like intentional rest day once a week. But I also now schedule in quarterly. So I did a quarterly. I've done 2 quarterlies this year, and I think I'm going to continue that. I think every 2 years probably I'll do a longer sabbatical. I don't know, about 3 months, but what I learned from it was that my audience, they didn't even know I was gone. They didn't even know. So like we think people are watching all of our stuff, because nobody thinks about us the way that we think about ourselves.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And so, when coming back from a rest period or whatever, or if you're shifting gears, I think that we just need to make sure that we're highly focused on the task, on the mission, I guess you could say, so that when we come back or when we shift, it's gung-ho and we're so aligned. And when we are aligned, people feel that. People feel that and they're attracted to it. They look at you and they think, wow, she's really got her stuff together. Or there's something different about her. I have to be close to her because I need to learn from her or whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
So the shift actually wasn't difficult, but moving into sabbatical was difficult.
Sure.
I cried a bit. I had some anxiety about it. It was an interesting thing.
That's so funny. That's so funny that you say, because I can imagine like you have this big launch coming. You're like, cancel that for now. Or that's a series of big decisions you had to make. And
I was already marketing for the launch, but it was cool too, because the very last live that I did before going on sabbatical was talking to my community about rest. Back in 2019 or so, I went into my first coaching program as a student. Or it might have been 2020. I don't remember. Anyway, it was a very tough experience. I mean, we coached every day for 2 hours every morning. There were so many people in there. It was a very odd experience. I learned a lot, but Anyway, but through that, I fell into this hustle culture. And that was that's another part of my story we can talk about another day. But I was super deep into hustle. And I remember being so short-tempered with my kids. I would be at the fridge getting something out for my children or something, or just standing in the kitchen, and I'm on my phone, and my son, who's so much younger than he is now, would be like pulling on my shirt, and I would say, just stop. It's like finish this. Like, who is this? That's more than this child.
Oh,
right?
yeah. 100%. I've been there. I'm 100% guilty of that. And my kids are grown now. And it's like, that is the biggest regret that I have is I didn't, and some of it is, a lot of the coaching and the, not even coaching, like sometimes you're not even working with the person. You're just hearing them, a mentor that they don't know they're your mentor.
Right, exactly.
And it's like, they're hustle. You've got to, and it's toxic. It's
It is.
poisonous.
It
And,
is.
I hope my kids are recovering from that, but it's,
Oh,
that was the
yeah.
big, major misplay, which is something I just love so much about what you're doing. And the fact that you work with women and you can spread that message of, let's make this a business that's easy for you to run because you have other things. You're doing it for your family. It shouldn't kill your family in the process,
Right. Right. Yeah.
That's
Oh, it's so
that's
true.
amazing. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
One of the things that has helped me, especially, I want to say, especially since January, coming back from sabbatical, actually, is um, remembering that even if I'm listening to a training, everything is recorded.
Yeah.
Everything is recorded, and it's like I used to get so upset because my son has to finish. Like
Yes.
he has to finish whatever he's trying to say to you. So I was like so pleased that he like actually left. I was like, we're just gonna have to give him the spotlight for a minute because he's gonna
Yeah.
do it anyway.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I used to get upset because they would come and like right in the moment where like the speaker's giving like the key thing. And
Yeah.
in the past I would get so irritated, but now I'm like, I'm just noting the time.
Right. So you can fast forward to them.
Timestamp,
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's a whole different thing.
yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. And I agree. And then, there are tasks too where nobody else is involved, but you're in your zone. You're
Mhm.
creating something. And
Oh, yeah.
sometimes it can be very hard to get into that flow state, very easy to get popped out of it, harder
Yeah.
to get back in, and like
Mhm. Oh man, the
so
struggle is real. Every
yeah.
single day I struggle with it. And it's crazy because I feel like my brain has created this pattern of like when I'm not interrupted, it just tries to interrupt itself. Like there are days that I go to the coffee shop because I'm like, I really want to work on content today and stay super focused. When I get there, it is so hard to get focused.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, yeah.
It's
One
real.
day.
It's a real thing. And it's
But
like
it's good to know you're not alone, right?
yeah, it's like, and when you can get in that zone, it flows so effortlessly and it's so productive. It's amazing. And it's like, um,
Good.
just have you found a way that you can like put yourself in that, or maybe not yet?
Honestly, the best way is these.
Oh
These are,
yeah,
you can see like how old and used they are.
they're great.
Yeah, noise canceling headphones are like a lifesaver.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much sensory overload that a person has. I'm at home all the time. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
we get out and do stuff, but like I work from home, I homeschool, we live in this house, and everything is here. And if it's not like the noise, it's the visual clutter. Anyway, but someone had mentioned, going back to these, someone had mentioned noise canceling headphones. I was like, what are those? And they're amazing.
Right.
But I mean,
It's
it's some time, but noise canceling headphones. And I personally, the only music I can listen to while I work is I have a playlist and I just go to like, it's called Yeshua soaking worship music, instrumental soaking worship, something like that. Anyway, but it's all just soft, kind of like you go to a massage place or something.
Nice.
They
So
have
not
that kind of
words. There's no lyrics.
yeah,
then,
no
right?
words, not like
Yeah.
nature sounds, birds chirping. That would be so distracting for me.
Yes. Oh, that's so funny. I know I've, powering through various different playlists, trying to find like, what. And,
Yeah.
and it's been surprising some of the things that actually work. I'm like, what? Like
Really?
EDM. I'm like, it just, and I'm like, I don't know why, but it works. I would never listen to this otherwise, but it's perfect
Wow.
with music. It's bizarre, but
Yeah.
finding those things, that's
I'll try it out.
man, worth a shot.
Oh, it's
So
awesome.
crazy though. That's man. So all right. So what did you do while you're on your sabbatical?
Yeah. Well, I don't really know. The time, 3 months seems like a lot, but it was
Yeah.
such an eye opener for how fast time goes, especially as we
Mm,
get older. Our perspective of time changes. But
it does.
yeah, it was like 3 months was over, and I thought, what did I even do? I did have a list of a couple things that I wanted to do if I felt led and like released to do work stuff.
Yeah.
In December, I did start planning out the launch.
Mhm.
So, but that was really nice because I was completely off of social. And so it did help me just to do what I wanted to do and what I knew was best for the people I would be serving. But other than that, like we got really good on some house routines, which was so important. And we had been slacking on that, so putting those back into rhythm. Homeschool, we were doing that a lot. My kids started doing ice skating, so that took up a lot of time. And then I don't know. I honestly don't know what I do with my time.
That's a good sign, though.
Yeah, I stepped in. I did have some medical appointments. Like I said, I was learning about that. But yeah, I mean, and I really wanted to focus on my health during that time in terms of like redoing my morning routine. Because I had gotten into, so summer came, right? And I don't know about you, but summer in Alaska, it's like you drop everything if there's sun because you just don't know if you're gonna get it, right? And so like summer is so, who knows what's gonna happen. But then I don't know, I just kind of felt like after summer, it was just difficult to get back into routine for me. And again, the main reason I think was because I felt out of alignment. Like I couldn't promote my offer anymore because I knew it wasn't the right offer.
Right.
So I was having trainings, but I didn't have like the next step available for them because I didn't quite know what that was, But yeah, sleeping in, getting my morning routine. I spent a lot of time with the Lord, which was great. Really focusing on homeschool and getting my kids through some specific things that I wanted to get them through. Made time for friends, like more time than I had before. And life just feels better since then. So yeah, if anybody is listening or watching and they, you feel like things are misaligned and you need, like if you feel overwhelmed a lot, a rest is what you need. Like it is the antidote. It is the antidote.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, like, what did you learn about the concept of rest?
So I started, so my husband and I started keeping Sabbath. And I know not everybody's listening is Christian, but so Sabbath is just a rest day, a 1-day rest day a week where you do no work. And we started doing that 10 years ago. And it was really, really difficult because my personality, I'm very much like my dad in that he's like, go, 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 right? And like if the lawn is looking bad, gotta get out and do the lawn, like it's gotta be done. If it's on your mind, it's gotta be done. And so I started learning how to rest back then. And like I said, it was really difficult for a very long time because I still wanted to do stuff. And I felt like I get wanting to rest, like I get that, but there's also things that have to be done. And we only have the weekend, because I was working a 9 to 5 back then too. And but what I realized over time is the more that I did it, the more I looked forward to it. Then Friday, because we do our Sabbath on Saturday, Friday became this day of like preparing. And so it helped me be more productive because it helped me to get all my loose ends tidied up before the weekend began. And and so moving into this longer rest, it was kind of the same thing. I knew it was I would say it almost was very sporadic that I did what I did. I didn't think about it a whole lot. I think I had decided, and after I made the decision, I said probably a week later I would start my Sabbath. So my sabbatical. So it was very quick, but I knew what I needed to do in order to be able to rest. And so in doing that, I was able to create a list of all the things that needed to be done before then. And I worked my tailbone off. It was not easy because you have to prepare for a rest.
Yeah, sure.
Right. And so I think that's so in saying all that, I think that's probably the biggest thing that I've learned is that rest takes preparation, but also rest is like the biggest component to being productive.
Ooh.
And so when you're fully rested, you work better. Your brain just works better. Your body works better. It actually like functions, like the inside functions work better, right?
Yeah.
But in order to achieve that peace, like a full rest, you have to be prepared going into it. And so having a period of tidy up before going in is really essential.
That's huge. That's wonderful. I think for a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, rest feels scary. Like you experience, like, what if I go away and I don't, I come back, there's nothing here. If I let off the gas, will I ever be able to go again? Like, will my hustle be just drained out and I don't have it anymore? All that kind of stuff. So.
Yeah. Well, and that actually brings up an interesting point, because I think that when you're doing, I think life in itself, we have to be open to change and ebbs and flows. So I will say that honestly, when I was moving into a sabbatical, that I was very open to the possibility that in 3 months from then, I might not continue coaching.
Yeah.
Or I might be doing something completely different. Or maybe God is just calling me to a season of just growing my children and not growing anything else.
Yeah.
So I think like having patience with ourselves, and also just being open to the idea of change, and knowing that change is really good. Like change can be really good. But if we're holding on to things that are, like if we're holding on really tightly to something, then we have no room to experience growth or good change. And so it can be really scary to move into rest, but I also think like it can be really exciting if you take that mindset. If you take the mindset that like, I'm open to anything.
Yeah. Doesn't have to look a certain way.
Yeah.
That's really amazing. That's so great, man. So I also wanted to kind of tie into, you had a fantastic training that you did recently, seeing what was happening with Facebook, and like, everybody's trucking along, all of a sudden algorithm, So I was wondering if you could share some tips on, what you've discovered that's still working on Facebook. And
actually I would love to do that. So the training that you're referring to is the new audience algorithm, and that's kind of my own term to help people understand what it actually is. It's not like the full algorithm changing. It's the audience that they are promoting to, and that Meta. So this isn't just Facebook; it's also Instagram. But who they are catering to. And so when we understand the audience that they are catering to, then we can better understand the tools and some of the reasons why there's changes going on. And so that audience algorithm, I showed a slide. I was like trying to think, what was that percentage of the slide? I can't remember. But anyway, the audience algorithm is focused on young adults. And so young adults, I think, was like from 18 to 29. Again, the slide's not in front of me, but 18 to 29-year-olds. So if you just think like younger, and like, what are they going through in life, right? And so when people are in that age range, they're going through tons of life transitions.
Oh, yeah.
Graduating high school, they're starting college, they are dating, they are getting married. Some of them might be having children. Some of them are starting their careers. Some of them are starting their careers and finding out, oh my gosh, I just went to 4 or more years of college and this is not what I want to do, right? There are tons and usually in that age range is when people start experiencing death in their family or in their life, some capacity. So there's so many life changes that happen in there. And so those people, that age bracket is actually growing on social media.
Oh, wow.
And so because it's growing, which is so funny, because I always hear people say, like, especially in my local community, the women in business out here, like, they always say like, well, I heard Instagram is like the best channel to get on. I'm like, no, Facebook is the best social media channel to get on, because everybody is on Facebook. And the reason why is because of groups. It's because of groups.
Yeah.
So I'm saying that because these younger people are coming on. They might be on Instagram and TikTok and all those places, but they're also looking for community to help them through these transitions, or to figure out certain things, right? To learn about very niched things. And so they'll get onto social media or Facebook, and they will look for groups, communities that will help them. And so understanding that, right? We as marketers, marketing our own business, we can better understand like, oh, okay. So even though your ideal client might not be this younger generation, okay, it's important to know, because like I said, Facebook Meta is catering to them.
Yes.
So whatever they are wanting for them, you need to adopt and learn how to mold it with your particular identity and how you can do it. And so some of the best ways are really the ways that we already know. We really already know this. The best way best thing to use on social media is video. And so reels, stories with video, and then live trainings, lives, and everything too has to be valuable, because remember what I said, this group, they aren't on here for social. They're really not. They're not on here like when we started on Facebook. You know, it was like this social platform to stay in touch. No, they're staying in touch in different ways, right? But they are on social media because they want answers, they want solutions, they want to find jobs, they want to network, they want to do all these things. And so when we are putting out content, it's not just about making a video or being funny anymore, like on TikTok. It's about like providing actual value that these people need. And so something I didn't share in that training that I want to share with your audience is that one of the best ways that we can do that is just to truly understand what it is that we're offering. So like, how do we help specifically? And that how, like, flip side for our clients, what is it really going to do for them? How is it going to change their life, right? There's this beautiful thing in the life coaching world called the thought model. And one of the exercises I take my clients through is to be using that thought model as a way to create content. And so if you use this thought model in your content, you are going to see things change. Okay. So Susan, you're going to have to look this up. Okay. So the thought model, actually, in my group, I'm pretty sure that I've got a training already there. So if you remind me, I'll find it for you. But anyway, so the thought model is just talking about like how the brain works. And so circumstances produce thoughts. So circumstances are just events, things that happen throughout the day. I dropped my pen. Oh no, right? Okay. So your circumstances produce thoughts. Those thoughts produce feelings or emotions. Those produce actions, and your actions produce your results. And so if you understand then that, like, you come up with a circumstance and you're like, okay, what would my ideal client think? Because that's the next step. Circumstance think. What thoughts would my ideal client have in this situation? So let's say, okay, so I'm looking out the window and I've got my kayak on my van. Okay, so looking at the kayak and I'm like, okay, so what if my ideal client is a woman who wants better health? So I'm looking at that kayak and I think if she saw that kayak and her husband put on that kayak, what are some thoughts that she would have? Maybe she would think, oh no, I don't want to go kayaking today. I don't want to be in a swimsuit today. Am I going to be able to keep up with my husband? Right? So you just start writing down all these thoughts that she could be having about just seeing the kayak on the van. And then those thoughts produce feelings and emotions. So what is she feeling? Overwhelmed. She's probably feeling ugly, not confident, right? Just to list a couple, which then produce action. So what are her actions going to be? Well, she might be in her closet pulling out 100 different pairs of shorts because she feels like she needs to wear shorts because it's a nice day or whatever, but she doesn't look good in anything. Or she might have an argument with her husband to try to get out of going kayaking, right? And so what results? So you can see this, right? It's beautiful. And so the results that she has based off of those actions are going to be, maybe she goes kayaking, but she's in a really bad mood, or she's uncomfortable, or maybe she doesn't go kayaking and then she feels really bad about it, or she and her husband are, not talking for the next day or two about it, about a stupid fight about a kayak, right? But when you go through that thought model process, suddenly your content becomes so easy because you know her. You just went through all of her thoughts. And so you get to include those thoughts and those feelings and what she's doing, her actions inside of your particular post or your live video or whatever type of content you're using. And then because you know what you're doing and the offer that you can specifically help them with, then you know how to tie it to them, to them, that certain circumstance. So like, again, if I'm, a health coach or whatever, I might go through that whole process and I could say, you know what, you could be here. Like, you have the opportunity now to work with me one-on-one to help you feel more confident so that when you get on the kayak, you feel strong, you feel beautiful, you feel whatever, right? Or you can choose not to, and then a year from now be in the same place and not want to go on the kayak next summer. So let's get on the kayak together, right? I don't know. Like, it's just a funny example.
I love how you were able to just do that on the spot too. Have you practiced? I mean, you clearly have practiced, like, running through the thought model and, but to be able to do it like that, like to be able to pick something immediately and go, this is this, how it could fall. That's really cool.
You know what's really funny about that though? And yes, I just made it up because I just saw the kayak, but the funny thing is I am so much better at doing it when I'm talking to somebody else.
Really? All right.
So when I am
on your own,
it's more difficult. I have a whiteboard right over here, and the whiteboard helps me. Again, I put on music in my headphones, and I have to do it on the whiteboard. For some reason, I can't. My brain in this particular season, I don't know. When I get to my computer to do the thought model, it just like shuts down. It does not want to do.
That's actually really encouraging because I find that with, like, I just have to find my whiteboard headboard. I mean,
you gotta find it. It might be your bedroom closet.
Right.
See, our brains, this is why, okay, so I'm a huge studier of the brain. And it's so interesting how God designed our brains. Like it's just, all it does is protect us. But what that could also like hurt us if we're wanting to grow and do different things, right? Yeah. But our brain associates patterns with location. So like, I think my problem here, and maybe if I just turn my desk, maybe it'll be better. But I really like this backdrop versus my closet over there. Yeah. But I have been interrupted so many times in this setting that I think that's probably why. Once I moved somewhere else, and at the kitchen table, I used to do really great work at the kitchen table the past couple of months. Not good. Yeah. And I think it's
amazing.
Yeah.
And maybe our brains are like primed for, you're probably going to get her interrupted, so don't bother getting in the zone because,
Yeah, I don't know.
It's so amazing. Man. But that thought model, I love how you, so having done, I'm sure you've had some copywriting training as well. And, I mean, that's a big thing. If you can speak the same words that your person is speaking, and the things that they're thinking, they're like, they get me, and it's like, and that can take some practice to be able to, that was just masterful. I'm going to rewatch this just to see how you did that. That was cool.
Do it. I mean, like, that is worth $1 million right there. And I'll tell you, so I haven't had formal copywriting training. However, I've had bits and pieces from coaching that I've been through, right?
Oh, sure.
I've been through. But this particular thing was totally God-given. So I went to, I have this mentor, a communications mentor. He actually is the one that helps with the mindset and all that kind of stuff. I'm certified in his particular practice. But anyway, his first in-person event that I went to, he was going through this model. And it's actually called like the meta model or something. Like it has a name for it, but a lot of people know it as the thought model.
Sure.
But it's truly how the brain works. And so he was going through this and he had somebody on the stage and he was talking. So what, it's like, he was like just talking them through it. And I was hearing them responding and going through it. And I was like, wow, that would be awesome. And that's where it came from. That's where it came from.
Cool. That is so
not only that, Sue, but here's the most incredible thing. It's not like it works so good. It's not just for your copy. It is for your programs.
Oh.
So if you know just a little bit about who your ideal client is and kind of the direction that you want to help her with, you don't have to have everything down in stone. You don't have to be clear about everything when you're getting started. You just start going through this process. And you think about all the circumstances that she could come up, like that could happen in her life. And again, weight loss is easy for everybody to understand. So like if I'm thinking about weight loss, what are some things that could cause her a moment of hardship? Having to go to a wedding, having to go to a funeral, going to dinner with her husband. I don't know. Like I'm just thinking of like those moments where she's going to have to like figure out what to wear and then be aware of her body, right? That's where my mind goes. But anyway, so going through that full thought model with as many circumstances as you can come up with, as many thoughts, all of the things. And then at the end, you see all the actions and the results. All the results are the bad results. It's the results that she doesn't want, but she's getting because she's living her life this way. So in order to build your offer and your program, you just switch the model around. And so now you're starting from the beginning or from the end with the results, and you're talking about the results she really wants. In order to get those results, what are the actions she needs to take? And in order to take those actions, what does her mindset need to be? Everybody talk about mindset. Well, it's important.
Yeah.
So this is how you figure out the mindset that you can help them get to in order to get the ultimate results.
Wow.
The mindset, the feelings, and then moving into the circumstances. So you can build out your whole program using this model. And then all those action steps that came up, you look at those action steps. I'm giving you so much good information.
This is awesome.
So you just look at those action steps and then you look at them and you think, okay, what am I actually skilled and qualified to help them through? And what am I not? And so the things that you are, and I'm pointing, that you are skilled to and you feel qualified in, you just circle them or highlight them. You know that those are definitely going to be in your program. The things that are left, you think, are these essential in order to get the outcome that they want? And if they are, how can you provide that in your program?
Okay.
So how can you be the best?
Collaboration or
collaboration, resources. It might just be a YouTube that you stumble across and you put the link inside of your whatever. But like you are the best advocate for your client. You are, what is it called? To be a good steward, right? To take care of what God has entrusted you, including your future clients. You have to be willing to like find the pieces that you know they need, because otherwise you're serving them, you're giving all this great information, but they're going to be like everybody else who's spending tens of thousands of dollars on coaches who are still not getting results because there's too many missing holes.
Oh, yeah. And this would actually work for any type of business, service, product, and of course, coaching, consulting, that type of thing. This is, folks, this is masterclass right there. I love
it. Really, so good.
I mean, running through that example, running through that process. So you can, create your program or your product, you can, or your service, whatever your offer is, you can, you'll come down immediately. It's intuitive at that point, how you're going to do your marketing and how you're going to talk to your person using their word. That's, your copy can come from that. I mean, oh my goodness.
Everything. Yeah.
Really
or
cool.
You do a challenge, or you do some sort of a training, that comes from that too. And you look at it and you think of what are the words that she uses, right? And then you can even do more market research on that. And you can be like, hey, I'm looking for a woman who struggles with this area, who maybe wants this result. Do you have a few minutes? And then you have a virtual coffee or something. And then you listen to the words that she uses, and then you just start incorporating those things.
Brilliant. Oh my goodness. This is the way, folks. This is the way. I love that. All right. Tell us.
Pathway.
It is the pathway. There we go. So I was going to say, tell us, how people can find you. All the things.
Well, the best way to find me is here on Facebook, or is on Facebook. I know this is on the podcast too, but the best way to find me is on Facebook. I'm also Theresa Taylor Coaching on Instagram. My email is at teresataylorcoaching.com. Anyway, but Facebook is the best way. And I want to say too, tomorrow actually, and I know not everybody's going to see it in time, but if you want to see it, my community is an incredible community full of resources. So tomorrow we're going to be having a training on a live video format. So it's actually the webinar format with some tweaks that I've created that has to do with the thought model and how our brain works. So kind of that psychological in-depthness of it. So that's going to be happening tomorrow. So if you're listening to this and you want to check that out in the future, just hop on over to the community or let me know. The community right now is called Productive and Profitable, but there is a name change, I believe, coming up. Because I have a YouTube channel with the same name, but I have a new direction that's happening with that. So the name is going to change. So we'll just have to keep you informed, I guess. But Theresa Taylor on Facebook, come find me there. That's super simple.
That's fantastic. And I'll post a link as well in this, so people can find that. If they're able to, I'm going to totally post for tomorrow's as well, or fairly quick as far as getting into the group, right? It's just answer a few questions and that's fantastic. Wonderful. Yeah. Well, it has been just delightful. I learn something every single time I hear you. It's very inspiring. You just, you are lit from within, and it's a beautiful thing to see. And I'm so glad to have you.
It's been also so much fun.
Yeah, it has. So I think we have crossover in our audiences as well. So Sherry Grigsby.
Oh yeah, she's Sherry.
Yeah, she's coming here tonight. I'm going to get to meet her in person.
Oh my goodness! I love.
So I was like, stop by.
Yes, I love Sherry. She is incredible, and wow, her story of growth has been so beautiful on a personal level to watch. We're good friends. So
pretty cool. That's awesome. Well, we'll send you a picture or a video or something.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, have so much fun.
It's going to be awesome. I know they're here just for a quick stop on their way, but I'm like, I'll take it. That'll be fantastic.
Oh, good.
Well, if you're ever down in this neck of the woods in Tennessee, you have a place to stay. And
yeah. Well, our family we were in Tennessee a couple years ago. I don't know if we're going to head to Tennessee anytime soon, but that is one of the places. If we ever did move, Tennessee is one of the places on our list.
Well, I would love to have you as a neighbor, so come on down.
It'd be fun. I'd be at your retreat all the time.
That would be so cool. Thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I really appreciate you taking the time to be with us.
Thanks for having me. It's been fun.
Wonderful. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.